United stand, Manchester United 2, Manchester City 1. Manchester is red. Manchester United are the winners in the Manchester derby. And you know what? I just want to say, how good was Aaron Wan-Bissaka today? I think that after the first 10 minutes, you would have said he ain't never going to be man of the match. He's struggling big time against Raheem Sterling. But if anybody ever wanted a lesson in life, in the fact that if life knocks you back, you get up and you go again. Raheem Sterling sent Aaron Wan-Bissaka back to Crystal Palace in the first 5 minutes. He absolutely skinned him, went through the box, they could have scored a goal. Ever since that, his game was just elite. Absolutely elite. That performance from Wan-Bissaka was just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Even at half-time, he wasn't quite man of the half. But into the second half, he just grabbed hold of it and went, I'm man of this bloody city. It was absolutely brilliant. Wan-Bissaka was superb today. So smash a like on the video if Wan-Bissaka was your man of the match, because I thought he was superb. And he's a prime example of, look, you know what, I've said this. I think we live in a flip-flop football nature, and we'll be talking about Ollie in and Ollie out in a minute. But we do analyse absolutely everything. I guarantee when Sterling did Wan-Bissaka, there was people, Arsenal fans, clipping it up and going, ha, £50 million. But I'm old enough to remember Ashley Cole, Gary Neville, Maldini, very, very good fullbacks, world-class fullbacks. They didn't not get beaten once. They did get beaten by wingers sometimes. It doesn't mean you're not a world-class winger, fullback. And Wan-Bissaka was just absolutely magnificent performance from him. And look, who would have thought this? I know for a fact that Manchester United were looking to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on Monday morning if the results didn't go well against Spurs and against Manchester City. There's no way in a million years he's going to get sacked now. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But obviously he shouldn't be sacked. And obviously if United could play like they have in the last 2 games, then the talk of sack would not be prevalent anyway. But let's talk about the Manchester City game for a start. Look, we did the preview. We spoke about it on social media. We all talk about it today. Lots of Manchester United fans were confident going into this game. And some would say you're setting yourself for a fall. You're being very, very naive. But if United are performing well, and we did play well against Spurs, and we did get some confidence, then this game today was always perfect. It's not a tactical masterclass by Ollie today by any means. It's just perfect for the way Ole Gunnar Solskjaer plays. He plays a flat back 4, he plays 2 holding midfielders, and he plays a front 3/4 that are quick. And if a team attacks us and leaves space at the back, it's brilliant. If we defend well, we will hit them on the break, and that's what we did in the first half. And we could have gone in 3 or 4-0 up. It was perfect. We suppressed Manchester City in the final third, and we hit them on the break in the final third ourselves quickly. And it was just perfect. And I think that's why so many of us coming into this game were like, if we can concentrate at the back and deprive them of shots on goal, and we're quick on the break, then this is what we're good at. You know, we might not have been brilliant a lot of this season, but one thing we're very good at is when teams attack us, exploiting the space they leave. And defensively, we're not a bad side. So I wasn't shocked by the fact that we didn't lose today. I'm going to give them some credit. I'm going to say I'm shocked that we've won, because I thought we would draw, but we totally deserved to win. And that performance today is when Manchester United, that's what we are. That performance is what Manchester United are under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And you've got to decide long term if you think that sort of style of play is good enough to win a title. You've got to decide if that's good enough to entertain you game in, game out. But at the moment, that is Manchester United. 2 holding midfielders, a black back 4, and hit teams on the break. And that's why it works. And people will be confused. They'll be like, how can we beat Spurs and Man City in the space of a few days, but lose to Newcastle and West Ham? And, well, there's a very obvious answer to that. And it's an answer Ollie's got to find. He's got to have a plan B. We know his plan A. His plan A is to sit back, soak up pressure, and exploit the space with pace on the attack. And it worked well today, and it worked against Spurs. But it won't work against Newcastle. It won't work against West Ham. It works against the top 6, because the top 6 think they're better than us. So they come and play us at football, and they leave the space, and we defend well and we hurt them. But it doesn't work well against teams that fear us, that think, well, United are the favourites, so we're going to sit back and we're going to exploit them on the break. And then we have to come out a bit, and that's why we get hit on the break against Bournemouth and against Newcastle and against West Ham. And that's what Ollie's challenge is, because despite taking 6 brilliant points today, we probably still won't get top 4 if we don't find a way to beat Everton and Watford and Burnley and Newcastle over the next 4 games. For me, I got frustrated after the Spurs result, didn't I? I said, that's a brilliant result, but this has got to be the start of something. We have got to go and do something. Well, we've done it. I don't need to get moaning. I don't need to point fingers. We've gone and got that result. We've gone and beaten Manchester City after the start. The first step against Spurs, we thought, is it a first step or will we drop back again? It's a first step. We've now gone and beat Man City, the champions. We've basically handed the title to Liverpool, which, to be honest with you, I'm not happy that Liverpool are going to win a league, but we've got to fight our own battles. And now, the brilliant thing about these 6 points is we're 5 points off Chelsea in top 4. I don't think we can get top 4. I wrote it off ages ago, but we're 5 points off Chelsea in top 4. Chelsea have got to play Spurs in a couple of weeks and Arsenal over Christmas. We have got Everton, Watford, Newcastle, Burnley as our next 4 games. We have now got to take 12 points from them. Otherwise, what's the point in beating Man City and Spurs if we don't go and take 12 points from those games? That's the challenge for United now. Confidence is booming, but the word that starts with con that is the most important of all is consistency. We've now got to go and get consistency. And 2 games isn't consistency. It's a start, but we know where our problems are. You know, look at our record this season. We've beaten Leicester. We've beaten Chelsea, we've beaten Manchester City, we've beaten Spurs, we've drawn with Liverpool, and we've drawn with Arsenal. So what's that? That's 14 points from 18 against the top 6. That's title winning form. 14 points from 18 against the top 6. Absolutely brilliant. But you know what I'm going to say? What's our points return away from that? It's abysmal. It's absolutely abysmal. And this is why Manchester, and this is a sobering thought, and I don't want to be sobering because I've got my beer ready and I'm having a drink. But if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer beats Everton next week, we've got 27 points off 17 games. 27 points off 17 games. Mourinho was sacked for 26 points off 17 games. So that shows you how bad a season we've had away from the top 6. And now that's what we've got to go and do. But you know what? Let's take it. Let's take it on the chin. Let's enjoy it. And it is Christmas. Everyone's got to have their Christmas tree up by now if you celebrate it. And it's a Saturday night and we've won 2 games. And we've got something to build on now. But the consistency is important. I don't want to see arrogance from United. I don't want to see people dropping off from this level. The hard work starts now. It's easy to get up for a derby. It's easy to get up for Mourinho. And they've really performed very well. They've got to get up for Everton next week. They've got to get up for Watford the week after. That's what United have got to do. Because I tell you what, I'll be furious if we drop points against Everton and Watford after those 2 brilliant results. So we've got to go and do that. That's what United have got to do. And somebody said this before. You win titles by beating the teams in the bottom half of the table. That's what you do. You know, anybody can get up for the top games. And we've done brilliantly in those. But we've got to be consistent now. That's what we've got to do. Because I think the concerns around Ole are probably still there, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's do something we all want to do, which is the player ratings. And I tell you what I want to say as well. How many times this season have we done the player ratings and we've struggled to give somebody an average 6? How enjoyable is this going to be today when everybody has performed really, really well? So De Gea, to me, I'm going to give him an 8. Start again. Can't even get an 8. I'm going to give him an 8 because I'm going to give De Gea an 8 because he made a couple of very, very good saves, but he was actually organising his back 4 really well. It's very difficult as a goalkeeper when your defence is, within 5 metres of you because we were playing so deep in the penalty box. Normally, you've got quite a lot of gap. Your defence is at least on the edge of the box. We were defending virtually on the edge of the 6-yard box a lot. So your goalkeeper is very important. The communication, the organisations was really, really important. That's not the right team. Right. This is not even the right team. So let me just get this sorted out. I have got the right team. There we go. We can't get that wrong. Come on. frozen now. It will come back. Anyway, what I can do is, while we're waiting for that, yeah, we've got it right now. So Luke Shaw for me, I'll give him a strong 7. I'll give him. It's all going a bit wrong now. It's all going a bit Pete Tong. Right. So Luke Shaw. I'm going to give Luke Shaw a strong 7. I know a lot of people don't like Luke Shaw. I do. Let's remember Luke Shaw's playing his first Premier League start since August. He's coming back from an injury. Ashley Young cannot play in this game because he can't play 2 games in a week. Brandon Williams would be ridiculous to chuck him into a game like that when he has been making mistakes and he's still learning the game. Luke Shaw was our only option. He clearly wasn't totally match fit, but he grew into the game and made some important tackles. I thought Luke Shaw did quite well, so I'll give him a 7. Harry Maguire, I'll give him a 7. I think a few people thought Harry Maguire had a bad game. I don't think he had a great game, but I don't think he had a bad game. And I think United defended well. So I'd give Maguire a 7. I'll tell you what I do want to say very, very quickly. That goal we conceded to Otamendi, why are we playing zonal marking as a defence? Harry Maguire should be picking up Otamendi. He's the only threat in the air. And you've got Wan-Bissaka on him and Harry Maguire marking nobody, people said. He's not marking nobody, it's called zonal marking. I hate zonal marking. And zonal marking basically means you have a certain area that is yours to mark on a corner. It's crap. Because if somebody can get the jump on you, and that I really hope we don't do zonal marking again. We spent £80 million on Harry Maguire, who's one of the best players in the air, and we don't put him on Otamendi. So that was a bit stupid, but it's not necessarily Harry's fault. Lindelof, I'll give him an 8. I don't know why Lindelof is getting so much stick. I really don't. I thought he was fantastic against Spurs, and I thought he was fantastic again tonight. So I don't know why Lindelof's getting so much stick. I think people want Twansibi to play, but I thought Lindelof played really well, so I'd give him an 8. Wan-Bissaka I'm going to give a 10. I never give a 10. And it's not really a 10 because he did get skinned in the first 5 minutes. But I think it becomes a 10 performance because when you face a challenge on a football pitch and you have a bad start, a lot of players will go, oh God. And, Raheem Sterling actually did play well for Man City. He was probably one of their best players. But Wan-Bissaka put him in his pocket. He couldn't really get past him that much. So I thought Wan-Bissaka, the way he improved throughout the game, and in the second half, he was just easily the man of the match. I would give him a 10. So smash a like if he was your man of the match. I think both McTominay and Fred are easy to mark. They're getting better and better together. They played well. They played really well in that midfield. They didn't let us down. They weren't exploited. They were disciplined. I thought they played really, really well, those two. So I'll give them both an 8. Dan James can have an 8 as well. Worked really, really hard for the team. He's just not getting on the score sheet and getting the assists at the moment, is he? Although it was an assist for Martial's goal, really. But a threat. And remember, Dan James is a £15 million signing from Swansea and a young lad. And now we're expecting him to be, scoring 4 or 5 goals a month for Manchester United in big games. He's doing a great job and he's learning on the job. And I thought Dan James did a good job today. Marcus Rashford. 8. I'm going to give Rashford and Martial an 8. And realistically, they both should be getting 9s. But in the second half, we really did just sit back and tried to hit them on the break. And we just didn't do it. And we defended really well. I think in the first half, we were brilliant on the break. On the second half, we just didn't do it enough. I don't know if that was tiredness. So Rashford and Martial, who were superb, they were probably 9 out of 10 in the first half, just weren't really in the game in the second half. So I'd give them an 8. And Lingard's a hard one to mark, isn't he? Lingard's a hard one to mark because he didn't do anything wrong. He worked really hard for the team. I think that's the position we need to improve on in January. I mean, imagine if you can drop Pogba there, or you can drop a Bruno Fernandes in there, and we become so much better. Lingard, for me, is a hard one to mark. I'd go with the live comments. Some people are saying 8. We could give him a generous 8, couldn't we? But for me, I think I'd give him a 7. He just doesn't do enough on the ball for me. Every pass is the easy pass. And that's not his fault. He's just not a creator. But, he certainly contributed, especially in the first half. But I'd probably give him a 7. If Maguire's getting a 7 and Shaw's getting a 7, I think Lingard's getting a 7. Because I wouldn't put him on the same level as a Martial or a Rashford or a McTominay or a Fred or a James. But, it certainly wasn't bad. And if 6 out of 10 is an average performance, then, we've got to say that everybody has performed well. And as a team, they've performed really well. And I'd give Ole an 8 as well. Because I think in the second half we did invite a bit of pressure, and it was a shame we had to take Martial off because what happens when Martial goes off is we're not a threat because we've got no one to hold the ball up, and this is it for me. I mean, Martial's goal was world class, But a lot of people don't see what Martial does off the ball. The holding up of the play, the clever runs he makes. And we saw it against Sheffield United when we took him off and they got their goal back to equalise. And we saw it again today. When Martial goes off, we just end up sitting deep and there's no out ball. So, but he had to take Martial off because Martial couldn't play 90 minutes. Some people were surprised that Martial started. So I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But we did go defensive and... it would have been an absolute injustice if they got a point out of that. They did not deserve it. And I tell you what, talking about Ole out, why are people not talking about Pep out? I mean, this is a guy that is now, 14 points off Liverpool. And, Liverpool and Man City are miles ahead of anybody else. But Man City have dropped ridiculously. And nobody can begrudge Manchester United winning there today. And nobody could begrudge Wolves winning there today, winning there a few weeks ago, and Norwich beating them. Man City are not a great team. They've got great players, and that's why they do get a lot of wins. But when somebody really has a go at them, and they're susceptible, and we did have a go at them in the first half, and we totally and utterly deserved the result. So I don't know why people aren't talking about Pep out, because I don't really see them bouncing back from that. I really, really don't. And, Ole just... I mean, look. I don't understand what Mourinho did on Wednesday. I don't know why he did that. I think he thought he could attack us and win. But Pep Guardiola should have looked at that and looked at Liverpool and looked at Arsenal and looked at Leicester and looked at Chelsea and gone, every team that attacks United has ended up not winning and a lot of them have lost. But, I'm going to be arrogant at Etihad and I'm going to still leave us exposed at the back and attack them. And it just played right into our hands. So I wouldn't give Ole a 9 or a 10 out of 10 because... he didn't actually have to do anything that he hasn't been doing for the last 8 months. Ole plays 4-2, 3-1 and hits teams on the break. And if teams allow us to do that, great. I mean, I hope Everton come to Old Trafford next week and try and attack us. They won't do. They won't. Everton, and if anybody watched Everton versus Chelsea at lunchtime, I've watched 2 games today and both the same have been really interesting because both teams that lost had about 70% possession. And both teams that sit back and hit on the break have won. So, there's your possession football's the way. Well, it isn't because Everton have beaten Chelsea and United have beaten City. So, it isn't necessarily that way, is it? But look, let's talk about this for a moment and then I'm going to take some of your comments. Where do we stand on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now? Where do we stand on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now? I said last night, quite deep into the Friday night video, I said that I want Ole to win today and I want Ole to be successful because the best thing for United is if Ole's successful because then you haven't got to sack a manager, bring a new manager in who gets rid of players that are here and wants new players in. The best thing for United is if the current manager turns it around and does well because you've got stability. I said it about Mourinho. Even though I wanted Mourinho out, I said while he's here, the best thing that can happen is that he turns it around because then you get stability. You're not letting money out the club. You're not paying people off. You're not changing the fan base, changing the play base. Because if you did sack Ole, imagine Ole's lost these 2 games and he's sacked on Monday and Pochettino comes in. What happens? Pochettino comes in and goes, I don't like Dan James. Oh, I don't like Lindelof. I don't really like Scott McTominay. Get rid of them. Bring me 3 different players in. So stability is very, very important. What I would say about Ole is, and I can't lie because the video's there, I did say, however good Ole does at United, I don't ever see him winning a Premier League title. And I don't want to bring that in here now and be negative when we're all feeling really, really happy because that's not what I'm saying. But I'm not going to start pretending that I think Ole's the right man for Manchester United. I want Manchester United to win Premier League titles. I don't think he can win us Premier League titles. But what he could do, and what I hope he can do, is win titles, because I don't necessarily know the answers. But what I would like to see is some stability back at the club, some consistency. And that's the interesting thing over the next few weeks. You can't be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out 6 days ago and now Ole's at the wheel again 6 days later. There are a lot of United fans that are going to be like that because that's just the way football is. But what we need to see is some consistency. He will be here till at least the summer now with those 2 results. And he will get money to spend in January. So he's got to keep building. He's got to keep building. This team is learning. The coaching staff is learning. The owners are not good enough. Ed Woodward is inept. We've got lots and lots of problems at the club. But what we have got is a set of players that are really trying really hard. And we've got a manager that's doing that as well. So it's exciting. It's exciting, and it's the most exciting time of the year. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen. But what I would say as well is that I saw some people in the watch along sort of arguing with each other because one was Ollie out, one was Ollie in, and they're all going at each other. And I just say this: what's to argue about? We have played terribly this season, and anybody who criticised it has been absolutely right. We played superbly well tonight against a very good side, and we loved it as a fan base. And tonight is what we want. And for anybody who's been moaning about the performances, about the manager, about the players, they're moaning because they want this. And they're right to moan about what's gone on before. But if we get this, and we get this week in, week out, then the moaning is worth it. And we're all happy together, and we're all a United fan base, because that is what we want. Look at Liverpool. It's nearly Christmas. They've only drawn with United. They've won every other game. You know, it's not unrealistic for Manchester United, the biggest club in England, with the biggest revenue stream in England, to be wanting to win every week and expecting to win every week. We must not lower our expectations and say, well, we can't win every week. You can win every week. And that's what Manchester United must be looking to do. And that's why we must build on this. And we must, I believe, go and win every Premier League game left this year, which is 4 games. And also, we've got AZ Alkmaar on Thursday. We better bloody beat them as well, because people think we've qualified. Well, we have. But people think we're going to finish top of the group. If we lose to Alkmaar, we are second in that group, and we've got a harder knockout tie. So, massive, massive week ahead for Manchester United. And I'm very, very pleased with it. Very, very pleased with it. And I'm looking forward to the fan cams. A few people are talking about Saeed. Don't give him too hard a time, although he did say Ollie out and Rashford shit about a month ago. But a lot of you did. And I'm not holding it against you. I think football's a funny old game. As Jimmy Greaves once said, football's a funny old game. And it is. You just never know, do you? And like I said, even United were looking to sack Ollie next week. He's gone and got 6 points. Maybe the players know that. Maybe Ollie knows that. Maybe the effort levels have gone up because they want this manager to do well. But I tell you what, he needs to tell them every week then. You know, my big fear is that now we've got these results, those effort levels will drop off. And not because I'm being critical of the players, although I am, but it's very easy to be up for a derby. It's very easy to be up for Mourinho. Can they get themselves up for Vicarage Road at Watford just before Christmas? Can they get themselves up for Everton at Old Trafford? That's how you do it. And also, not only that, they've got to get themselves up to break down teams that are going to sit back. And it's going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. And I'm looking forward to it. What I'm also looking forward to is Paul Pogba, get your bloody boots on. Like, if you can play where Lingard's playing, we're suddenly so much better. Martial's superb again tonight as well. There's a lot to be excited about, and I'm looking forward to it. Please do smash a like on the video, and make sure you subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. We're going to take some of your comments. I'm just loading up some of the super chats because we've had some of those coming through. Then I'm going to have my Chinese because I've only had half of it. But let me have a drink of beer first. But let's enjoy it. It's a Wonderful Life. I'm going to watch that after this. It's a Christmas classic, and stress-free weekend. I love it. I absolutely love it. This is the best few days we've had this season. Ajman Kolsman says, Wan-Bissaka man of the match. Pep should have been our counter-attacking football prior to our match. Hats off to the midfielders and counter-forwards. Finally happy on a weekend. Mojo says, according to the media, this is the worst United team in a very long time, and we just went out and beat amongst the best manager in Mourinho and the champions of Premier League. This team will improve. I think Mojo, I think what people are saying is this is still probably one of the worst starts to the season we've had in 25 years, and that's still a fact. It's a weird season because we've had brilliant results like tonight against the top 6 and awful results against everyone else. Factually, it is still one of the worst seasons we've had to a season. This is why we've got to go on a run now. And I you know what? I actually do feel like we're going to go on a run. I almost feel like today it was a bit like those first 3 months under Ollie. So maybe we are going to go on a run. I hope so. Uar Cantona says 13 goals in the last 14 matches for Rashford. 16 goals in 33 games against the top 6 teams. Sensational, top class. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Varun Chanda says if Ollie is able to create and sustain a system to consistently beat small to mid-level teams as well, then he's not Ollie out. He's still not there yet, though. Varun Chanda. Mark, how was Walker not sent off, says Simon Mono. I thought the referee was crap. I'm glad we're talking about it later on in the video. I thought the referee was crap. we criticise VAR, and I don't like VAR, and just because it benefited us, I'm not going to say I like VAR. I'd scrap it tomorrow. But that referee was crap. How did he not see that that was a penalty on Rashford? Like, he was all... I thought he was a really bad referee today, but how did he not see that that was a foul on Rashford for a penalty? Like, there's nowhere near the ball, and he was going to play that on. Ollie in, nothing else on the market, says Rolf A. Jensen. Sell Pogba and buy Bale, says LM Studio. Mojo, Mark, when I said we were brilliant against Spurs, you had a go at me, but surely you got to agree that we were superb today. I didn't think we were brilliant against Spurs, to be honest. I thought that Rashford was the difference in that game. I thought we played well, but I didn't think we were brilliant. Today, I thought first half was immense. Second half, we sat back, but we earned that right. I think Man City arrogantly walked into the trap. And it's amazing how many teams are doing this. Chelsea came to Old Trafford, thought they could beat us. Leicester did it. Brighton did it. Liverpool did it. Arsenal did it. Man City did it today. These teams that play attacking football think they can just attack us, but we defend well and then we hit them and exploit the space. Teams need to figure out that they've got to respect us. That game was the battle of the pace, says Sen Connell. And there's been, I'm just reading a statement from Manchester City because there's been some racial gestures by Manchester City fans, and the club operates a zero tolerance policy regarding discrimination of any kind. So bad night for City. You don't want to be reading stuff about that, but chucking bottles as well. Disgusting. Lindelof and Aaron Wan-Bissaka were incredible today. Wan-Bissaka 10 out of 10, says Ollie Jacob Hodge. Well, I said smash a like on the video if Wan-Bissaka was your man of the match because he was superb. Alfred Marcel says Kyle Walker seems to think City dominated and didn't deserve to lose. Well, they dominated the ball, but I can't remember any big chances that they had. You know, but I mean, you know, I don't sympathise with Kyle Walker. It's just, what do you want as a football team? We want to be like Man City. We want to dominate the ball and create chances. That's what we want to do. We don't want to be the team that hits on the break and soaks up. But we did, and we deserve to win. You can't take that away from us. Scott and Martial makes the team better, says Ronit Biswaz. I can't wait to see Pogba back. Shaw prevented Bernardo Silva like Mo Salah last year, says Wedi Filippo programme. I thought Shaw played really well. De Gea 8 out of 10 for me. He literally made sure it didn't draw with that last strong and hand save. Yep, Rolf, I gave him an 8. We won't win against coming teams with this style, says Anthony De Silva. We do need a plan B. Rolf A. Janssen, forget the Premier League title this season. That conversation is long gone, but we'll get in the Champions League again where we belong with these kind of tactics more than any more. Captain Woe II says Gunnar here, and that performance from Wan-Bissaka is genuinely one of the best from a wing-back I can remember seeing in the last decade. Outstanding. Mike Smith says great win, we deserved it. I hope that no extra time was given for the lighters. In fact, there should be some advantage for the team who gets abused. Markey says Pogba will be raring to play the next game. I'll bet my wagers on this. Yep, he's not been there for the tough games, so he'll get himself back. Build McTominay a statue. What a guy, says Lee McGorgren. I think you need to build a few. 807, I will take that all day, says Bryce Jones. Great start to my day in Australia, says Mr. Beast. Wan-Bissaka could tackle Brexit. Southpaw of Sports says, I'm still very much Ollie out. I would lack all conviction if 4 days and 2 great results allowed my mind to be changed. Very happy to get the win, but show me what this team does against Everton next week. I respect that. Because you're right. Why should 4 days change you? You want to see more. Red Baron, so I guess we're keeping Ollie for another 30 years after that result, but isn't this just what Jose did? Be underdogs and good against the top teams, rubbish against everyone else. Ollie C says McTominay has given us so much. Fred can play his game. The back four get support. If Ollie wants to maintain this, Pogba needs to go in at 10. Kai Boo says Man United always overperform against the big teams. Ollie is the man, says Dirav's child. Needs more players, which requires time. Your point, these players show up against the top teams, has been an issue for years. Plastic melts before titanium, says SK. And Don Ireland says, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you absolute legend. How many blocks, tackles, interceptions did this guy make? Spider-Man. What a way to start the weekend here in USA, says Soham. Let's go, says Mile Jennings. So everybody is happy. I respect a lot of what's been said there. I agree. We've got to see more. I mean, you know what? We all know the truth. If Manchester United were to go and lose against Everton next week, a lot of people would be Ollie out again. He's done a fantastic job and the players have done a fantastic job over the last 2 days, but we have seen this before. People are right, we have seen this before. We've seen it with Mourinho, we've seen it with Van Gaal, and then we've seen us go and drop points and lose to silly teams. We've now got to demand more, and we can all be a part of that. The fans at the ground, the people on social media. We got to keep these players on their toes. We got to keep these players from dropping their standards like they always do. Remember this. Remember this one. We beat Manchester City from 2-0 down at the Etihad a couple of years ago. And the very next game, we went and lost to West Brom at home. This is the rule. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to be aware of this. This has happened so many times with United over the last few years, where we get big results and then we go and lose to teams lower down than us. So we do need to improve on that. I definitely agree, and hopefully we can do. But look at the run of games. Everton at home, Watford at bottom of the league away, Newcastle at home on Boxing Day, Burnley away 2 days after that. They're struggling. There's 12 points there, and I know United never do that, and that would be 6 wins in a row with Man City and Spurs as part of the equation. But why would we not beat Everton at home? Why would we not beat Watford away? Why would we not beat Newcastle at home? Why would we not beat Burnley away? 12 points there, and I tell you what, if we do take those 12 points, I think we'll be at least 3 points off top 4, maybe even in top 4. And if we are, well, it's New Year, it's January, everything's possible. Ollie, his positivity goes a long way, says Dylan Dyer. When even Ferguson is grinning, it's a good night. It was a fantastic result for Manchester United, and it's nice to be in a position where we can relax and look forward. So I'm really pleased. I'm very, very pleased, and I hope you are. And you know what? I know one of the goals was a penalty, but I do just want to say that penalty was won by pure brilliance from Anthony. Not from Anthony Martial, from Marcus Rashford. The way he created that goal was just absolutely magnificent. So really, really enjoyed it. Really, really happy with it, and I'm just over the moon. Absolutely over the moon with that, and I hope you lot are as well, because we deserved it. We deserved that result. You know it, I know it, and we go again. We go again. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. We're closing in on 600,000 subscribers. The channel keeps getting bigger, and you know what? Whatever you think, I know that you as a community care and you want the best for the club. The players were good. The manager was good. I wish we could change our owners. I wish we could get rid of Woodward, but we were fantastic tonight. Let's see where we go. And I tell you what, at this time of year, we want some excitement, and we're going to get some, because I can't wait for the next few games now. I can't wait. What an amazing win. Man of the match, Fred. Tenacious ball winner and quick to spread the ball. Thank you, Man United, for not ruining my birthday. Great gift. Let's keep it going now. Willie J. Solis, happy birthday, mate. I'm glad you've got your birthday sorted. For me, Aaron Wan-Bissaka was man of the match, but the fact that we're arguing about it is great. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. Watch out for the fan cams, especially Saeed's. Give him some stick in the live comments. Banter stick. What did he say a month ago? Ollie out and Rashford's crap. Football's a funny old game. I'll speak to you soon. Thanks for watching.